Let's take you back to one of our top stories now and get reaction from ActionSA. It has written to IPID to investigate the SAPS members who are part of Deputy President Paul Mahatile's VIP protection unit. A viral video of the protection unit members assaulting motorists on the N1 highway in Johannesburg has sparked outrage, understandably. ActionSA leader Herman Mashaba joins me now for more. Mr. Mashaba, thank you very much for your time. Are you in agreement with some South Africans who are saying, the statement by the Deputy President is not enough and that they feel as though government is too quiet around this issue and is just placing it on the SAPS to investigate their own members?
Well, thank you very much and good afternoon to the listeners, and thank you for the opportunity. Masiho, this video issue is really of major concern to most of us South Africans. Actually, when I saw it yesterday late afternoon, I was shocked. It was something happening in a dictatorial environment. This is not something that happens in a civilized nation in this era. And to come out to be the Deputy President's VIP protection unit, honestly, I think in any civilized nation, those VIP protection people are supposed to be in jail, not doing any investigation, because they know who they are. We can see, South Africans can see the kind of barbaric crime that they've committed. So for that reason, honestly, anything outside those people not being in jail by close of business today would really be a very unfortunate situation. Is going to send a very bad signal to South Africans that South Africa has reached a point where the rule of law does not apply to ordinary South Africans than you and I, because one day it'll happen to you like it has happened to those three fellow South Africans yesterday. So we'll watch the developments with keen interest, because this matter, honestly, there is no way as South Africans we are going to really let it just really disappear like most of the cases have happened in the last 29 years of our democracy.
Mr. Mashaba, you've been mayor of the city of Johannesburg before, and I think even though not at the scale of a president or a deputy president, you also at some point use protection unit. Is this how they act normally?
Well, there was no way. In fact, it's such a good question you're asking. You can ask anyone in the city of Johannesburg, from our communication people in mayoral committee meetings, including our VIP protection, that, you only use the blue lights under extreme circumstances, because it is our responsibility as public representatives to go to our meetings on time. Why all of a sudden when people become politicians, they become like they're untouchable, they are always in a hurry, So for me, the protection unit that looked after me will only really use it under really very the trying circumstances, not a chance that we can always use blue lights and go around harassing people. Fortunately enough, I had a very supportive team. We never really experienced any cases of lawlessness and barbarism that we saw happening yesterday to our fellow South Africans, more especially coming from someone who's the deputy president of the country, someone just over a week ago, his own personal lifestyle, it's unquestionable. It's not someone who's supposed to be holding any public office in any civilized nation.
Well, Mr. Mashaba, in terms of a conversation that I had with Ipusa just a short while ago, in fact, just before we spoke to you, Mpogwinina, the General Secretary of that particular policing union, confirming that as state employees, those police officers would not be arrested immediately because there's some special way, if I could use that word, that police officers are treated when they are being investigated for things such as assault, etc., because there's a level of violence that they are allowed to use. Unfair, Mr. Mashaba, looking at how you and I would have been arrested immediately had we been found assaulting people the way that they were with guns on the highway.
I cannot believe if Masiko, we have such legislation in place that empowers police to assault us in such a barbaric manner. Honestly, if that is the case, honestly, we have to really revisit our laws, because it exposes us law-abiding citizens to abuse and barbarism by legislation. I don't really personally believe there's a law like that. If it is, that is why as ActionSA, I'm going to call on South Africans, let's work even harder to make sure that we can go into government to change some of these barbaric laws, some of really actually make sure that our law enforcement agencies are freed from political interference. We've had, look at what happened to Phala. We're still dealing with the matter of Phala. We're still waiting for the outcome of the Marikana. Now look at what happened last night. I think this is really very unfortunate. And, I can give. I always use this as an example on many occasions. I remember long before I ever thought I'd one day become a political person, going to play golf one day, leaving my office. I can tell you, all of a sudden on William Nickel Drive, there's this massive vehicles pushing us off the road as if we are criminals. Then obviously we move out because you don't know who and where they're rushing to.
The speed will force you.
Yes, we were pushed off the road as if we are criminals. But what I'm trying to bring to your attention, I get to the golf course. I see it was the premier. The premier at the golf course, he was rushing to the golf course to do what I don't really know. That's when I realized, our political system in this country, it's rotten. And this is many years. It was during Makura's time when he was the mayor, long before I would really one day become a politician. And this is when I look back at my life, I reflect. These are some of the issues that really forced me to say, Herman, if not you doing something about it, to who? And I really feel and threw my head in the ring to say, look, we've got to save our country from actually being taken over by criminal syndicates masquerading as political parties. So honestly, this is unacceptable. We are going to follow this matter until these criminals, because they are criminals, we've got evidence of their criminality. We're going to follow it up and work with other political parties and civil society organizations.
My last question, very last question, Mr. Mashaba, and I need your answer to be a little bit short. Investigations are going to continue, and we don't know if the deputy president was with this protection unit or if they were going to pick him up, right? If it is found that he was driving with them, would you expect the investigation to go further and, tie him to the crime?
Well, I think, let's face it, whether he was in or not, it honestly does not really make any difference whatsoever. Because, look, if let's say he wasn't, let's take it for granted that he wasn't there. What were they then rushing for, actually abusing our people in this fashion? And but also, if he was there and he witnessed this matter, actually, he must also be charged. He was party to this, because if he was someone carrying an ethical leader, should have actually got out of the car to stop this barbarism to really happen in front of his eyes.
Well, there's still an investigation going on, Mr. Mashaba, so it'll be very interesting to see what the investigation will find. But thank you very much for speaking to us here on All Angles. That is ActionSA leader Herman Mashaba.